Hello, everyone, and welcome. Where am I looking? I have so many places to look. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Blocks. I'm UGW Tim Bear, and joining me today is my Vanna White, as always.
UGW Ether.
And we have somebody very special, kind of the whole reason why we're here and why we exist.
Yes, my father, Jess LeBeau.
Well, hello.
I like how you put on a dad voice.
You definitely need to do that.
So UGW Jess is our executive producer, in addition to our motivator, our captain, our
the
compass.
The wind in our sails.
The wind beneath my wings.
Yep, the hand in our pocket.
That one hand in our pocket.
And he's also a high five.
With the one
giving us the high five.
giving us a high five.
Okay,
That was bad.
I'm sad.
We got a lot of great things to talk about today. Jess is somebody I've known for a long, long time, but in addition to being a good dude and a great friend, he's also an incredible talent and has been making video games, writing books about beer, about role-playing games, about all kinds of stuff. So we're going to dig into it.
He's the kind of person where you get a job at the company that you work for and you kind of fangirl out a little bit on. I think I tell the story every stream. But okay, so Baldur's Gate is my favorite game and just worked on it and I couldn't control myself. And he was like, oh yeah, Baldur's Gate, yeah, no big deal. I just did stuff.
So I've known Jess for a bit, and when we first started working together, we hit it off like that. But I would go and I would talk to press, and I would say, oh yeah, we've got Jess LeBeau, author of Master Change, and all these, and they'd be like, Jess LeBeau, like, can I meet him in person? I mean, we had people, yeah, exactly. They started scatting and rapping and stuff. It was really weird. You got some fans in the industry and across the
mostly I have fans because of you introducing me to people in the industry.
Yeah, we do have some stories, some not appropriate for this particular program.
We're going to be skittering around those
but
ones.
You got, yes, we are, and
and also, guys, if you have any questions in chat while you're watching, for any of us, anything for Jess LeBeau, please let us know in chat. I got my chat right here, so I will be monitoring that, and we'll make sure to get those answered for you.
Yeah.
He is an expert on adult spirits, so questions of that variety, now's a really good time.
Master mixologist, a creator of fine beverages.
Yes, and we'll get to that.
You can mix them well.
Ooh, but before we get to that, I know I have a lot of burning questions as to why. Like, what started?
Why uGen?
Because you're a total veteran in the industry. What made you sit down and go, I need to do this?
It was a number of things. As Troy said, we worked together many, many years ago, and when you work at a lot of different places and you see how things get done, perhaps you think, oh, I would have done that differently, or perhaps you think, oh, I would like to try this. It's one thing to be able to say, I can do it better, and it's another thing to actually do it. And we talked about, how some of the things that we had worked on went really well, and some of the things, we felt like we could do better. And so over the years, there's been this desire, this sort of itch we needed to scratch, which was, let's prove that we could actually do what we've said that we could do better. But that's just a sort of a desire to be the people making the game. What was going to be the game, right? I think, which is a more interesting question.
Yeah.
And, when we met, we were both working on an MMO, and MMOs, to me, the game is less important than the community, right? Yeah. The community is the experience. Right?
Amen, brother.
And so when I came to the company we were working for, Troy was already there, and we connected very quickly because I feel like you need to have that connection with the community. Otherwise, what are you doing, right?
Yeah. I want to follow up on this piece, because as a person who witnessed that, and I have a particular style, we have a particular style when it comes to interacting with our community, and that is.
Speaking of, hi Dexter, I love Scar.
Hi Dexter, I love Scar. We don't propose to be the conduit or the people with all the answers. We want to facilitate a connection between the people who are doing that particular. There's so many moving parts specific to games, and Jess was always one of those people who was unafraid to get legitimate, honest feedback. So I saw that in action, and of course we were like.
Yeah, I mean multiple times. I think there's been weeks that I'll never forget, speaking of honest feedback. It was like my second week here. And there was just like some weeks you just don't connect. You just your ideas, nothing. And I'll never forget being like, man, Jess, you've really shot down all my ideas this week. And he just goes, you just gotta have better ideas. I was like, all right, I guess fair.
As a joke, you said that.
But
do have better ideas.
But do have better ideas. No, but it's true, and you can always expect that sort of like, well, do better. I think, but I'll never. That's like how I have you in my head now from that.
I'm sorry that I scarred you in that fashion.
No.
What would be your first job? Do better. No.
Do better. Yeah.
Yeah. But to continue that sort of that idea, right? We so community is very important, and it is the core of most games, I think, right? Is the way players interact with each other. Games aren't just something to play; they become a playground for people to interact with each other, right? And the community is that's the core.
Yes.
So how do we come up with a game that gives the power to shape the world to the actual community? And so we've spent a lot of cycles. We've talked about this for years. But then about 3.5 years ago, I was working in China, and I met our CEO, and he had some interesting ideas, and one of them was around watching his kids play certain games. And there are some games that are starting to understand the value of community and putting the tools in front of the community. And he was watching his kids play some of these, and when you look at him, you think, you know what, we could do that better. We could give a better experience to the community. And that's really the genesis of all of this, is the idea that the feedback loop is give the tools to the community to build very simply, right? Not Unity, not a game engine, but very simply, so that it's very accessible. People can build their own world and play in it, and then take that feedback from the players and then improve that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would actually go even a step further to say that our experience in working together and working directly with community folks is that we have come to understand players have evolved and changed. They get game dev. They get the language. They get the process. They know what it means. They know when things are going south specific to, like this is a bug. It's not just a time where folks don't know where games come from. Long gone are the days when people used to get mad about seeing Halloween art in the game and get angry because they haven't balanced combat yet. Like, people get that those are two different jobs, right? Yeah. And that notion that players really do want more control, and they want more impact, and they want more connection. And that's really, uGen. Like, it's really where that's the genesis.
I love that.
Yeah. It's actually the name of our logo.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Literally, uGen.
Literally, yeah.
Yes. I'm so rude. I'm the worst host.
I was going to do the same
Shout
thing.
out
to
Kelly, our video wizard, who is an actual wizard. I witnessed it today when our computer decided to blue screen us.
In a horrible way.
In a horrible way.
Oopsie poop.
It wasn't just a restart. We had to wipe the entire computer with an hour to go before the stream. And she got the licenses. She got everything installed. We are on that PC currently.
Yes.
So shout out to our. It was like she was a cauldron. Like she was just throwing
stuff
wires
in there,
at the computer.
The abracadab and all that.
Incredible. So, of course, we have a Kelly behind the wheel. And then we have two special guests. We have Kimber, not to be confused with Timber, and Sari again as our executive and I guess co-executive producers.
Yeah,
on the
they're
stream.
co-executive producing today, helping us keep on track because Timber and I like to chit chat.
Because we need it desperately, we really do. So shout out to them, and I know they really want us to announce Sari's Corner starting next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sari's gonna actually have, and Kimber as well, a little 5-minute soiree into
what Quirk's all about, and
Yep.
showing off game stuff, and again, another example of us getting people involved. But Behind the Blocks is all about the studio and the team, and we're sitting here with Jess LeBeau today, and he is our executive producer.
We got a lot of
man in
producers
many
on set
hats.
today.
I know, yeah, exactly. And I know, Timber, you prepared some questions, some additional thoughts for Jess. Do you want to dig into those now? Or?
Yeah, I absolutely did not. I wrote down. This is the one stream
This is so funny. You're supposed to lie, but
no, never.
Aren't you wearing your lie socks, or was that yesterday?
No, that was yesterday. I was prepared yesterday to BS all day.
Yeah.
Because you're so good at just coming up with questions on the fly. So we started this process where I make the framework, and then Trey's really good at questions. But I did want to ask, basically. I actually asked my big question, which was why Quirk?
Yeah.
I would also love to hear more about, I'm sure people watching, we talked a little bit about your background, but what did you do before Quirk? What kind of projects?
Before Quirk.
Yeah.
Go way back. Go way back.
So let's see. Out of college, I made fish and chips.
Oh yeah.
Yum.
And then, actually, this restaurant that had this great flat bottom
Kelly's so excited.
fish and chip fryer. And then when you're working in a restaurant, sometimes people are annoying, and so I got a job selling beer.
Oh.
For that. And then I lost that job.
Like just out of a back of a truck or something, or?
I worked for Budweiser.
I gotcha.
No, we
Gotcha.
sold like big beer distributor, right? So we'd go. Actually, I didn't sell the beer. What I did was I stacked the beer.
Oh, a beer stacker.
I was a beer stacker. They called me a merchandiser.
A merchandiser.
Well, that's a fancy word for.
So you would bring it in, you would put it in the actual.
So someone would, use a little computer and type in how much they needed, and then a guy in a big truck would come and drop it off, and then my job was to take it off of a big pallet and put it on the shelf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Take a lot of skill, really.
But, it sounds like a lot of work, and so from there, then you evolved.
So then I lost that job.
You went
Wait, so was this a voluntary loss?
No, I got laid off. But what was great, so this is where I get into games. A friend, when we were in college, we played Magic the Gathering, right? And that was
sure,
we did.
Yeah.
So, and it
Are we looking at like the 90s? Is this what?
Yeah, because Zylan's calling you
Yeah.
old in
Yeah.
chat, I think, right now.
Yeah, I am.
Go back like 50 years.
Respect your elders.
Yeah.
Seems rude.
All right, so you're playing Magic the Gathering. I mean, during like this is a hot time for Magic.
Like when it started.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine, a very good friend of mine, was like, "Hey, I hear you lost your job." They're advertising at Wizards of the Coast for a managing editor for their magazine for Magic the Gathering, which at the time, which I think is now it was called The Duelist back then.
Oh,
right.
It's not Magazine the Gathering.
It's not Magazine the Gathering. That might be what they call it now.
That would be so good.
Yeah.
Wow, they really missed an opportunity.
We can call them up after this and see if they'll.
We know some people there.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch.
And then so I applied for that, and I didn't get that job. But they liked the fact that I had a big Magic card collection, and I have a degree that fit the job. So they're like, "Hey, there's another job we want you to apply for," and I ended up being the line editor for the Magic the Gathering novels.
That's awesome.
And that's where I got exposed to Baldur's Gate, Forgotten Realms, right? Because I did, I edited the Baldur's Gate novelization and worked with the team at BioWare when we did that storyline. And so I worked there for a while, for, 4 years or something. And
Zealand's selling off our blocks on the back.
Yeah, I'm watching this. She just sold one for 0. I don't think she's doing a very good job at it.
You keep up. Keep up the good work.
Go, Zealand, go. Yeah, so I lost that job too.
This is a great story so far. Lost this job. Lost this job. Didn't get this job.
So that actually, it's interesting. I wasn't going to say anything, but this is as good a time as any. Is that, if you are an aspiring writer, or let's just actually make it an entire category, entertainment, a creator of entertainment, whether that's movies, TV, books, writing, making video games, any aspect, any discipline, it's an up and down kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
There's, you can work at it, and 4 years on a project is a lifetime.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
impressive.
a long time.
Yeah.
And so, so it's not unusual to say, to work with a person 2, 3, 4 times, and you can even actually come in to a studio and work on one single project and then head out, But anyway, so that's just to speak to a really normal, you get, it at first it sounds frightening, but, you think about movies and how they're made, that's a part-time job.
And I think it's
part-time, full-time.
an appeal for a lot of people. I know when I wanted to do game industry, I was so excited to potentially work all of these different jobs, because I was like, I just bounced from job to job to job because I just left bounced
scared.
And bounced, sold to that's can we grab that real quick?
How can I grab it?
Are
you asking me?
That the whole block so that is sold
Left scare.
to left scare.
Left scare, I'm your dad.
Yeah. That's it. Don't take that off that block. We don't want to mix them up. You got specifically.
This is the important one right there.
Yeah. All right.
Sold for $1 to Left Scare.
To Left Scare, we'll be contacting you soon, Left Scare, whoever you may be.
I think we know who he is.
Oops, it was a total accident. Because, oops, I spelled your name wrong.
Oops.
She just had a copy and paste. She was right there. He was right there.
All right, so back to the topic at hand.
I don't even...
You were talking, Timber, about the
Was
fire.
I?
You get the fire to work in games, and the
Right.
idea that you get the opportunity to do
multiple
different
projects. That's so cool.
Yeah, super fun. And so, Jess, at this time, you are, where do we leave off? You're transitioning out of WotC,
Yeah, so lost that job.
but you got the fever at this point, right? You're like, this is it.
Yes. Well, so after that, I wanted to go into to games. I was a big, game player, and then I thought, okay, after paper games, I thought I want to either do, video games or television. Television is a hard industry to get into, and it's the barriers to entry are quite a bit higher. And you have to live in LA.
Yeah,
That's
right.
hands down the worst part.
Yeah. All of us having been folks who spent some quality time in California, we're here to say.
Oof.
Yeah. All right.
So video games. I was like, okay, let's try that, and then
Wait, LA?
Well, he said California.
Oh, okay. San Diego's great. Shout out to San Diego.
San Diego's great.
I do like San Diego. San Diego is great.
It's cool.
It's kind of like Seattle South, only much more.
I feel like it's a sunny Seattle with better Mexican food.
Clearly,
Yeah.
that's a good description.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. All
More
right.
more big warships too, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, so then I this is interesting. I got a job as a contractor at Microsoft Game Studios. I was working there, and I was 2 weeks into working there when I got a call from one of the founders of ArenaNet, and they wanted
ArenaNet, makers of
Guild Wars.
Yeah,
And
incredibly popular,
and,
highly successful.
And I left Microsoft to go to Guild Wars after only 2 weeks there, and
And Bill was like, "That's rude."
he was.
Old Bill Gates.
He wouldn't even
Good old
shake
Bill.
my hand. on
He
the way out the
wouldn't.
door,
He was
no.
just like, "No,
Right.
I'm angry with you."
He is. He doesn't invite me over to his house anymore.
Oh man.
Aw, bummer.
Sad.
All right. Well,
Piece of that, but that's
so you
okay.
traded Bill for Mo.
For Mo, Mo and Jeff and Pat.
Yeah.
And I was employee, I don't know, 18.
Were
It was
you?
a really small company at the time.
Yeah.
And that was cool. I have pictures of what the game looked like back then, and it was one big muscular male model, one skinny female model, and the same armor for all the different. You'd change them out, and they'd have different stats, but they all looked the same, right? So you didn't know if what someone was actually wearing, and that was fun. And so I think a lot of what we try to do here is based on my early days there, because the team creation and the how you run certain things of a game studio, I think really hit me, there, because there's people really respected each other and they were all very good at what they did, and so we try to do that here, right, where everybody likes and respects each other. And that's really important, because you don't really everybody feels like they've got an important part, and they feel like they
feel some ownership and agency. But the other thing that I like too, Jess, is the commitment that you have to that small team dynamic, and making sure that people have as much opportunity to influence what's going on. If they're passionate about a thing, they get an opportunity to share that. I mean, we do a lot of group discussions about some really important things, representing both what we're getting from the community, in addition to our experiences as both gamers, game dev folk, and just people who are kind of smart.
Sarah says, "We love you, Jess, the best boss. Hashtag
blessed.
BB."
Oh.
BB.
BB. Sarah is awesome.
Yeah, hashtag jest.
Hashtag Jess. Yes. Hashtag Jess. Get on the internet.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Work here.
Copyright. Me. Whatever date it is. Pay me.
So yeah, we really do try to get. I mean, no one here thinks they have all the answers, right? So
No.
Which really is a lot of all of us, because we're all
and
gamers,
trust
right?
too, right? I mean, it's really nice to be able to throw out an idea and go, "I'm not sure why I'm uncomfortable with this, or this feels weird. Can someone please give me some feedback?" And 9 times out of 10, it's horrible. No, I'm kidding. 9 times out of 10, every time it's a valuable lesson to sit down and kind of go, "I need eyeballs that aren't mine." To look
kind of
at this
step
thing.
outside of
Or would walk this idea kind of through the playground and figure out what's missing, or that's great. All right, so now you're at ArenaNet.
So there for a number of years.
How many?
Some 4, maybe 3, 4. I don't remember exactly. And then when I left there, that's when we ended up working together.
At Flying Lab Software.
Yeah.
Working on the MMO Pirates of the Bering-Sea.
Nice.
And that was super fun. We had a very good time. And then when I left there, I went down to California to work with Carbine on the game WildStar. I don't know if it was called WildStar.
No, at the time, it was something different.
And
love that game too.
Then I met the guys from Riot. At the League of Legends guys at a conference that I was speaking at, and they came and asked me if
what is it?
League of Legends?
Who are
right? What?
It's a little game you've maybe never heard of.
I'm not familiar with
I
this.
think like
League of Legends.
Yeah, it's like League of Heroes.
Oh, anyway, so you're talking to these guys at Real?
Real.
I think they're French or something.
Real.
I am
Real.
so triggered right now.
Real.
So triggered. Misfortune, Maine.
This is actually really amazing, because I remember you and I were talking about this in sunny California, and you're like, "Oh yeah, these guys, he's putting together a little something."
Yeah, I know, right? It was, and they had maybe 12, 15 people at the time.
Yeah.
And they were like, it came up to me after a talk I'd given at a conference, and we're like, "Hey, do you think that story is going to be important to what we're kind of doing?" They explained to me what they were doing, and I was like, "Well, you need to have flavor to it, right? Like everybody, so all of the characters have their little backgrounds, and all of the, so I drew them. I came up with backstories for a bunch of their first characters and drew their map and named it all and named.
That's so cool.
I remember seeing this stuff. It is just it blows my mind.
And now, of course, it's huge. Is it the biggest game in the world? It might be.
I think it's.
It might be. I mean, it's
arguably the biggest esport right now.
Sure.
As far as arguably, some people might disagree.
Some people may argue.
Yeah, but they might.
But I mean, that's amazing. It kind of goes to show you that there's a lot about being in the right place at the right time, and one of the reason why this opportunity showed itself to you is because you were willing to go out and speak at these events, and that's a big part of what it takes to kind of put together your success in the industry and learn and meet and grow.
Yeah,
and
network.
And be open to doing things, right? Like, I had a job at the time. I was busy, but I was like, yeah, I'll help you. I don't know that I was paid very much for it, but regardless, it was a cool thing. They needed help. I had the skills to be able to help them. You could have easily passed it up, but that being open to doing the things that you're passionate about, and just doing it to build yourself, to build other things up, and
for the love of it, basically.
For the love of it. And the other thing too is that it's such a creative endeavor, making video games, and a very heady process. Sometimes it's nice to move to something that is in your off time purely creative, because you spend all day fighting against all of these, mission critical failures, and software's not working, and the third party solution has decided to take, to crash, and but to do that, but then really make it about your passion of being creative and focused on video game stuff and helping people that, you had no idea where they were going to go with that.
No, right? I mean, every game that starts off like that with a small team has a chance to be successful, but also has a bigger chance to fail, right? And so, just on that same topic, I wanted to say, you're absolutely right. We in a creative situation like we're in a small studio, even a big studio, there's conflict. There's creative conflict that takes place, right? There are deadlines, there are things that break, there are people who disagree with you about how you're going to do things, and it can be really challenging, right? The collaboration process is messy.
Yeah, it's really messy,
So what I've done throughout my entire career is have some personal creative project I do on the side to allow me to sort of, I don't want to say cleanse my palate, but give me
the exact same thing.
But allow me to have control over something.
Yes.
That didn't require quite so much effort on the collaborative level, right? So when I was working on Guild Wars, I was writing novels on the side, and when I was working, at Carbine, I was writing other games, and now I don't do as much writing, but there's if you're a creative person, right, having your creative outlet outside of your team is also really important too. Cooking, brewing beer, taking a tree and
milking a cow.
Milking a cow. What is that? What's the word? You like bonsai, or like doing something with a.
Oh, sure. Like some artists, you kind of
painting, whatever.
Sure.
And that's the thing too about like our art team. They all do art in addition.
They really do.
Yeah, they sell pins and stickers and really just create. Oh, it's so cool what they do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jack and Zyland on their stores.
Yeah, seriously, it's awesome stuff.
Okay.
It's really, I think it's not at all a detriment for them to have that as a. In fact, I see it as a great positive, right?
Oh man, me too.
It's huge. Right?
Well, it also introduces a certain level of discipline that I think is really important, and that is to say, I've got the thing that I do during the day, and honestly, when you work in games, you're really never off. But to be able to take your executive function and put it on ice for a bit, and to sit down and really just be a creative for a while, it is a soothing opportunity for you to kind of recharge that battery. And oftentimes, we're working crazy hours at the same time we're trying to make sure our laundry is done, and that we've got the cat's fed, and everybody's taken care of, but we can be here 2 weeks straight working 12 13-hour days. Not unusual. Not unusual.
So having that thing for yourself is really important. And I think doesn't have to be a conflict, right? It can be a valuable thing.
But that's a really good point. That creative thing that you do can be lucrative for you outside of your work in the industry.
Absolutely.
You definitely want to have communications and work that out with the powers that be. But
So speaking of things, outside things of work, this is a great segue into your hobby. So this is one of my favorite things that we do. See, Sarah's on it too. Just tell it where me and Sarah are in sync in a lot of ways today. That's awesome. So tell us about your hobbies. You definitely do some really fun stuff that also help the team out a lot.
So some of it I can't.
A lot.
Actually
It really helps
into.
us after a week.
But I like beverages. I like coffee. I like coffee a lot.
You do, yeah.
I also like adult beverages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like making cider and beer and cocktails.
Yep.
You
So,
like that too?
Yeah. Some would say I'm a snob.
Yeah, all my tweets did say that you were a snob
We
today.
did. I did see the word. I did actually retweet in Facebook that you were a snob.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just sharing a previously prepared bit of information, but maybe really it's more apt to say a man of refinement or
No, I think
it's a snob.
Maybe
snob is appropriate.
maybe-
Yeah, I think that's fair.
maybe bougie or
I do love that word, but I don't know.
Bougie, I take offense to.
like a drunk line of bougie. Snob, I'll accept.
Snob, yes.
Right,
But
right.
Well, yeah. So talk to us about you really do integrate your hobbies into all aspects of your life, including here.
One thing, like I said, at some point it's time to put up or shut up, right? So if we talk about we could do this,
Yeah.
right? We could make a game without having to be part of a company that already existed. We could start a company and make a game. Just do it, right? So we did. So that's what we're doing. But if we can do that and we have control over it, why not do something where we celebrate our successes, right? And so every week on Fridays we do a happy hour, right about 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
When we do our stream, I make drinks for everybody in the studio. And
Literally goes desk to desk with a pad. What would you like? I mean, there's special, cocktails. I think that we've got. What is our studio beverage?
the White Lady.
The White Lady is sort of kind of our marquee or our signature drink, but we've done. We've had beer, and you also go from person to person, and it's an organic process
right.
of
White Lady
what
might
we
not
get.
be for everyone,
We bring
though it is a fan
guests.
favorite.
We bring guests in on Friday, but yeah, you're really committed to that, and it really is both a celebration of a week, but also a soothing opportunity to say, "Oh, wow,
Just
that was a
kind
rough one."
of sit down, yeah. And what I love about it too is that is why we have basically our streamer happy hour. We're, basically just wanted to roll it into one thing. So we have these delicious beverages. And sit down and watch the streamers and
have
hang
fun,
out.
jump in and
They
get
are-
to play. And
yeah.
what was that?
So that's where all the beverages appear from on Happy Hour.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
when we have streamers who are of age, we do have a phantom hand that just shows up.
that is true. And then suddenly they're like, "I'm having so much
You
fun."
need to get a green glove.
So it just flows.
That's a great
I
idea.
like
That
it.
is so good.
That's a good idea. That's
All
a solid
right.
idea.
It's great. Shout out to Lucio, who's doing our Friday Happy Hour. He's a Seattle native. So I might have
Hey!
to invite him back in with a green glove to
With a
test
green
that out.
glove, only the best. Green glove treatment for.
And we are over the hills. We're gonna, and suddenly we're not gonna do that.
I do want to ask you a question, though. Speaking of your fine and refined tastes, you're going to be going on a trip or something somewhere soon.
Yeah, so, snob, remember. About 6 years ago, 3 other friends and I decided we were going to buy into a small cask of whiskey together for my buddy's 40th birthday. And so-
Located
in Scotland.
in
Oh
Scotland.
man, that's an important detail.
So
That's
they
fantastic.
so they bunged it up. What do they call it?
They
Bunged
put
it.
a bung in the
Please,
in
no.
the hole. Yeah. No, there's a.
Wait, is there?
a
Do you
cask.
bung the hole, or is it a bung hole that you cork?
I don't.
It's.
We can come back
I
to
don't,
that.
I don't honestly know the answer to that.
Anyway,
Um,
casks.
Anyway, so
Producer!
we bought a very, very small cask, and so there are 4 of us, and it is now of age, and so we get to go pick it up, which is very cool.
Awesome.
So my buddy's 40th birthday is the 30th of this month, and we will go actually pick up the whiskey on his birthday, which is cool.
That's cool.
And each of us gets, I think, 6 or 7 liter bottles of this stuff.
Wow.
Dang, yummy.
So it's going to be great. I've always wanted to do this. I read an article about it years ago.
Yeah.
And what happens is, these distilleries, they make whiskey, and then it takes 10, 12, 18 longer for them to mature before they can sell it. So if they're starting out, frequently they'll sell the whole cask to you, the whole barrel, right?
Wow.
And so there's some risk involved because, you know, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take multiple barrels of the same age and then they'll sort of blend it together so that the same flavor comes across all those bottles. But so your one barrel could be really good. It could also be maybe not so good.
Not so
Oh,
good.
interesting.
Yeah.
Do they give you any sense of
That's
what
exciting.
of how it's done before you get there, or?
I mean, yes and no, right? It's
Yeah.
not like we went on a tour and watched them pour it into the barrel. But I mean, these are professionals who have been doing it for a very long
Well,
time.
I guess
Yeah.
what I mean is, like, do they take a little whiff or
Yeah,
a sampling
to be
before
like,
you get there?
"Hey,
They're
it
like,
looks
"Hey, kill the guy. You may not want to."
No. They do send you a sample every year. Well, they stopped doing it every year because it became expensive. But it's like every 2 years. They'll send you a little vial, and when it first comes out, it's pink and it's terrible. Stuff is terrible.
Like that they
Yeah.
still send it to you. Like,
They
you
do.
know it's going to be awful, but here you
Interesting
go.
and educational, though. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Super fun, and we drank it kind of. Ugh. But then it'll be fun to be able to try it now. and,
Neat. Oh, it's like watching a baby grow up.
A little bit,
That
yeah.
you can then devour.
Anybody who's watching who's into this sort
Shout
of
out
thing,
to
you can
Mama.
buy these little barrels and buy the white dog and kind of age it yourself at home. And I've done that, and I tell you
Why
what,
there's a case
it's
on
fun.
it.
Yeah, because there is some. You are creating a thing, and then you get to consume it, which is always enjoyable.
You gave me for my birthday an aging kit 2 years ago,
right.
and it was a little.
Holy smokes!
Oh.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy. Anyway, sorry. I'm shocked by that. But I remember it like it was yesterday. But
Yeah,
do go on.
2
Sorry.
birthdays ago. So it was a little bottle with a stick of wood that had holes drilled in it and had been charred, and you pour whatever white alcohol you want in there. We put some tequila in there, and you know what? It was really good.
It made
That's
it. It
awesome.
really. I'm not much for that particular spirit. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm choking. But after it had been aged, it was.
Yeah.
It was good.
And like you say, it's the creative process, right? Like, okay, we're not really making it, but we're doing a thing with it, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cool, right?
That's
Well, and I do
awesome.
like taking a look at what you've got around you in your world and the people that you work with, and finding a different way to do a thing, or what can you, what kind of spin can you add to the life that you're living to give it some texture, and that's what I love about what we've done here and what we continue
Yeah.
to do at uGen. I do want to talk a little bit about something. How are we doing on time right now? Almost 2 minutes. 20 minutes.
Yep.
Cool. I do want to ask you some questions about your. So when we last left the story of Jess Boddington LeBeau,
It's not a thing.
you don't know. You don't know. His
do.
mom. His mother's name is Boddingtina.
It's also.
And so, but when
That's
we
my
last left your
mother.
career trajectory, that's your mother, you were transitioning, you were helping out some League of Legends folks, and then,
I ended up getting a call from a company in China.
yeah,
In fact, I think I was sitting on your front porch when I got that call.
it
And-
was either mine or yours, but yeah.
And I ended up working in China for 6 years.
Whew.
I
How was
remember
that
the
transition
Yeah.
from?
You know, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Anybody who's ever thinking about living or working abroad, I would totally recommend it. It's a life-changing experience, but it's always for the good, right? I mean, it's a challenge, but it was fantastic.
It's awesome.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
you were there for how long again? You said
6 years.
6 years, and so you really immersed yourself in the culture. You did not shy away from the eats, the cities, the traveling. Met your wonderful wife, who is a I absolutely adore
She's
her.
lovely.
Yeah,
Like, super lovely.
absolutely, hilariously lovely, smart, and amazing. So you worked there for 6 years, and then there came. I remember we talked. You were still in China, and you're like, "Hey, what do you think about this idea that we've been talking about
That's
for
awesome.
decades?"
I was living in China, and I was actually working for a company in Poland, and we met again in Germany at Gamescom.
That's right.
And we'd been talking about it, and I was just like, So when, I met our CEO and we had started talking about what his kids were playing and how, the ideas that I had, the ideas we talked about, and how, this is the one idea that when when you're in a company, they want new ideas to come up with new games, your big studios, whatever. This is the one I never shared with anybody, right? Because I didn't want someone else to take it.
It was your baby.
This is the one we were going to do. And so when this came along, I was like, all right, this is our shot. We're going to take this shot. And so we're in Gamescom, and I ran into you, and I was like, all right. I was gonna come ask you, what you were, where you were at and how things were going, because I was like, I had told Greg, I was like, the first person we need to get is Troy, and you actually beat me to the punch. You said, so how's that company going?
I'm like,
you've been doing that for years.
I have been. I mean, because I was serious. I was very serious about that. And you go through your career and your life, and you find these people that are incredibly talented that you trust, and you're just like, yeah, I want to take that jump. You know what I mean? I want those folks to be around me, and so we can do amazing things. And so I was pretty serious about it. Yeah.
And so this time I was very pleased to be able to say, well, we are. And
I was like, whoa.
As a matter of
fact. What?
And, and so then we continued, we had some ideas. We had to get some, we had to get a demo together so we could try to get some investment. And then once we started talking, and then we started to build a team, even though we didn't quite have the investment yet. But we did have a demo, and it was.
And we did believe in the team and the idea and the talent.
Yeah, and you've shown a little bit of what that early demo looked like. We'll hopefully someday, after we're more successful, show off more of it, right? Because it was light years away from what we've got now. I mean, just light years away from what we got, and
a testament to our experience in game dev, because if you looked at that as the sole example of, you ought to do this because look, people would be like, aye, that's not so good. But but we knew. We knew.
We did. Some of the investors were like,
what is
and it's interesting because that continued even though we got investment and we built our own version of the game, and then we're still having a hard time getting people to understand the vision. And it wasn't until we got some of the user experience, the UX and the UI then when people were able to sort of walk through a little bit without being held by the hand and told where they're going, all of a sudden they were like, oh, I get this. I can visualize it. And now it's even like
light years.
Ahead of that.
Light years. Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Yeah, that was the beginning of the studio is always an interesting thing for me to reflect back on, because it was the opportunity to put that team together. And it's funny because we talked, and then I was like, I ain't doing it without Jeannie. And, and then as we started to get momentum and we started to continue to move forward and refine everything, like, Matatat and we had David on board and all of these folks that were like, you're our dream team. Then we, and interestingly enough, Timber, I was like, hey, everybody, when we're ready, I'm hiring Timber. I'm like, I'm gonna.
I feel like I kind of did to you what you did to Jess one day. I quit my dentist job.
She was a dentist.
I was not a dentist.
Rodents.
I was a superhero. At a dentist, it's even worse than just I was a dentist.
You were a superhero?
I'll have to show you. Yeah, you didn't know?
No.
Yeah, so I worked at a pediatric dentist office where I dressed up in a latex suit, and I was Melody, the superhero, to make the kids feel at home at the super dentist was where it was.
I didn't realize that was a job.
I didn't realize that kids had superheroes at home, just hanging out with them.
Yeah. Anyway, so I finally quit that because I was like, I can't. I can't be Chucky.
I'm out. And you just flew away.
The best. So I messaged you, Troy, and I was like, I'm looking for a community job. I need to get in this industry. I need to start my career. And he was like, I got some news for you. I think, it was like a couple days later, you're like, drop your search. We want you. And and the circle keeps on circling.
And the circle continues, and we have now been able to get to a point where we're bringing in new folks that are indispensable and have become part of that forward momentum. People like Kelly, people like Dakota, people like Jack, people like Sarah. We've just got a pretty phenomenal team.
Great team.
Best team I've ever worked with. This team is unbelievable. Every day, I think. God, I'm just really lucky to be able to work with the talent that's in this studio.
Oh,
really
so
well, and as our captain, I want to ask you something. Like, can it be a little challenging when you are working with a lot of people who really kind of know their craft, and then to learn or find out, like, wrenches get thrown into the plan because of a technological unknown or something that, like, how is that to manage?
It can be challenging.
Yeah.
To me, we go back to the idea of I've looked at people I've worked with or worked for. Some of them I've really admired, and I've tried to take some of the things that I learned from them. Other people I thought I can do better than that, right? And in cases where I've worked with people who I was like, I just don't like the way you interact with people, I've tried very hard to not be domineering, right? You hire people that you trust, right? And then you say, okay, I really believe that people need to own a thing, right? You own this, and I want to help you set the direction, but then you're going to have control over how it gets moved from point A to point B. And I think that really works if you get the right people, and you have to be but we do have the right people. And so I don't think me hovering over someone's shoulder and being like, are you done yet? Or, here's how you do this. That's not going to work, because we've hired people we know where we want to go. We know what we want to do, but I don't know how to do all of these jobs. In fact, what you do is you hire people who tell you how to get their job done.
Right.
You say, I need this done, and they go, okay, well, here's how you do it, and then you let them do it. Because why would you tell them to do it? Because they're better at it than you are, right? And so that, I think, is hard for some people.
Yeah.
And so I think letting go and saying, okay, I trust that these people are going to do the thing this way.
Yeah.
And that can be, that's not hard for me, because I've been in that position where people didn't trust me necessarily, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think it can be.
And naturally, you're one of those folks who you want to hear about progress, but you just know that people are getting it done, and if they need help, then they
That's
they come to
awesome.
you.
Also, shout out to Dogstar. Thank you so much. We think you're awesome too. Dogstar says, wow, Cork really has come a long way in a short amount of time. Thank you for putting together an amazing team, Jess.
Jess LeBeau.
He didn't add Jess, but I'm adding.
Nice. Thanks, Dogstar.
Because you did. You were our Mr. T.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'd like. You like that? Yeah, Mr. T.
I pity the food that
Nick Fury, take your pick. That's another good one. I would like to test some of those bonds. I think we're ready to hop in a game. We're going to do, it's time, 1v1. Versus Troy versus Jess LeBeau, or Jay Labine, as we like to call him.
Jay Labine, you're going down.
We are going to go ahead and take bets in chat. We're going to do we're going to let Jess pick the level.
Okay, great. Even better.
Great.
Yeah, so he's going to pick the level. We're going to see how good he is at his own game. Let's see. Troy, you're going down, Jack says.
Do realize that if I win, Jess is the one that's playing Ether. But if I lose, I'm the one that's playing Ether.
We did switch accounts.
All right, what are you doing here?
What would you like to do?
Let's play something old.
That's a classic.
You're gonna play old,
is a classic by Matatat, I believe.
Yeah, I want to play a Matatat map.
Okay.
Oh, equilateral damage.
That's a
that's
good
a great
one.
one.
That actually is a favorite. That's one of my faves too.
Nah.
I'm getting in there, joining you.
All right.
Oh man, it's been a while since I played this. This is one of those maps where when we got here to this, we were like, oh, we did it. It's happening. This game is fun.
This was the one. So Matt was the first one to really sit down. He drew this out on a piece of paper.
That's
before he designed it. And
all right.
okay, are you ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready. Are you?
We have 10 minutes left, so somebody hit the ready button.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are joining us in our last 10 minutes, you are now watching Behind the Blocks 1v1 versus Executive Producer Jess LeBeau and our Director of Communications, Troy. They're going to be doing some 1v1 in a game that we're developing called Quirk. Build, play, share. This level was made by our lead 3D artist.
Yeah, Matt
How are you?
God,
There we
yeah.
are.
We used to play this one
Yeah! Did you just...
the time, too.
Because it was a favorite of ours. We really dug it. It was super
It's
fun.
fun and
Get away from
simple,
me, you jerk.
dynamic. Ooh, there he goes.
Get on that! Oh! This flat keyboard is a real...
Yeah, Docstar loves this one, too.
It's always the keyboard, isn't it?
Wow. That launch, though. Look at that launch. Jess is taking out everything except Troy.
Oh, I died.
Lava.
Oh no, what happened?
The lava.
Did you larva yourself?
Hubris happened, I think.
Poised by your own lava.
And
Get him!
I'm always running.
Troy is currently being a bit slippery.
I'm trying. Oh. And the thing that was fun about this map is what really locked it down was when we were like, oh man, it's falling apart. Like, this changes the game. It was one of the very first that we ever did. Where are you?
Here.
Our executive producer is asking me if you can answer the phone call, I guess, if you'd like. She has my phone. She's all night.
I hung up.
Good, okay. Because if you didn't hang up, you'd have to answer it.
And you'd have to have a, Oh, get away from me!
Oh man.
Close.
We gotta get this back into rotation.
I love
I think we do, and I think we need to tell the story and remember the...
Ooh, you got a kill? I missed the kill.
No.
Oh, what does it say?
There was no kill.
One? Is that... Oh, I see what's happening here.
I think we're
What is that?
Are we tied?
What are those lines?
Okay, so those are magnet blocks.
Oh.
And they are, when you see those lines, it's showing you what it's magnetizing to.
Okay.
We don't see those often.
No, there's something there. I think. There's something fun that can be done, but it's difficult. I see you little...
Get him inside the house. Get him. Yes!
About time.
There you
Just
go.
die already.
Not a big fan of the cheering squad being super excited for my demise, but I...
Hashtag jest.
Hashtag Jess.
Hashtag Really difficult for me not to drop the bad words, but I think I'm doing okay so far. Ah! That was so rude.
It was totally rude.
Are they face to face with greatness and it's strange? What?
We have strange faces
I don't
that
know,
are great.
I think.
It's.
It's from Moana.
Oh.
Where are you?
You're
I
welcome.
think I just rocket jumped off.
And again, guys,
Welcome.
so we don't have much time left. So if you have any questions for Just Lobo about his career, anything, booze,
About how he likes to
Especially
cheat.
about how he's crushing it right now. Now
Crushing
is your
it.
chance. Right now,
Crushing
chat.
it. Crushing it.
Crushing it with
3 to 1.
17 seconds to go. Can Troy pull it out? No.
Not a chance.
Oh, man.
Spoilers.
Oh, he got
So
me.
one of the...
Wow,
Did I?
wow.
Yes.
We're now
One of
2
the
to
things
3.
that you do learn in the world of... because I'm kind of a diplomat. That's sort of my job. Is, always let your boss win.
All right.
Wow. Okay, most coins collected, most
Most
kills,
buffs,
first blood.
most shots fired, last minute kill.
Shots don't fire if you ain't hitting nothing, my friend.
No, that they are firing if they just hit.
I know they're not literally. So good job. Shake on it. Be nice.
That was a
Sportsmanship.
good game, but this is a good show.
You're
and
holding his hand a little.
No, I'm just saying a great reminder for me and for the folks that are watching that this stuff doesn't it doesn't happen magically.
Yeah.
It takes work, sometimes decades of work, and it takes talented people to lead a team of very opinionated, loud experts. And you do a really good job.
Yeah.
Thank you. You are
You're an
a
excellent
guiding
cat
light
herder.
for the team, and we have our bumps and we have our scrapes, and we all get back up and we take a swig of Friday happy hour. I was gonna say Jess juice, but that sounded really gross.
What are we having this Friday?
We're having French martinis, which is
Bonjour.
which is vodka, pineapple juice,
Dash of merde.
and Chambord, which is a raspberry liqueur made out of
Raspberry liqueur.
it's a grapes.
It's made out of what?
So good.
So it's like it's cognac.
So wait, it's a raspberry liqueur made of grapes.
So the base spirit is
I getcha.
is grapes.
Left Scar would like to know real quick. Can he say Left Scar is the best scar? That's what I got.
Left
for
scar is the best scar.
Apparently.
It is kind of a tongue twister, and we are sober as judges. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another great episode of Behind the Blocks. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to our executive stream producers. Thank you to Kelly, our video wizard, Vanna White, and of course, Jess LeBeau. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You are a rock star.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I be Manna White?
Nope. And of course, we have this Friday, we have our happy hour. We're going to be joined by a fabulous streamer, Hard Luck Hero.
Hard Luck Hero?
Hard Luck Hero.
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
'Cause is today Thursday?
Yeah.
Today is Thursday.
Okay.
So yeah, Hard Luck Hero is going to be our happy hour host. You can check him out on Twitter and on stream. He has the best hair on the internet. And shout out to his who's that I want to say La Sombra. It's not La Sombra. Anyway, he does cosplay too. Fabulous cosplayer, so definitely check him out.
Okay.
And of course, we will be back next Wednesday, and before that, we have Maker Monday. And next Wednesday, again, we'll have Series Corner on, a new feature.
Oh, a new feature. Looking forward to that. Yeah,
Yes,
featurette.
and
I like that.
Shout out to Chewy, who, again, this Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time is going to be hosting our first ever community tournament.
I'm in. Are you?
I am. I will be there. I push back my
Now, wait a
lunch
minute.
meetings and
Did
everything.
Jack get recruited?
Jack's in as well.
I'm out.
Jack's in. I think
She's a cheating cheater who cheats.
I think we're also going to have Dogstar,
good.
Poot Loops. I'm going to pressure Left Scar into getting back in. Or was it...
Left scare.
Left scare get in here. So shout out to Chewy. Thank you for putting that
Thank you,
on.
Chewy.
We're really looking forward to it. And we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Before we go, do not
Yes.
forget that we are going to have some new friends coming into our chat and interacting with us both in-game and in our social channels from the Philippines. So do us a
Yeah.
favor, show them that community love. The Quirk community is one of the best, and we really, really depend on you to be great ambassadors for our new friends. So keep an eye out for them, help them when they're in there, and let us know if we need to dive in and give a helping hand as well.
Yeah, great PSA, Troy.
Yeah.
Excellent. On that note, goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Hashtag just.
Thank you. Go to YouTube, like our stuff.
Like our stuff on YouTube.
God, I can't believe they bought all that.
I know. What a load of crap. This is just.
Baldur's Gate? Who plays Baldur's Gate?
It's so funny. They're dumb
He's not even
though.
close to
I mean, they're just gamers. Like, I mean, what are they gonna do?
You're out.
Like we pretend like.